In the last session, we have discussed about EDI 835, EDI 837, 270, 271, even 997, all that. And today we are going to discuss about EDI 810 because this is NEA transaction set, which is an electronic invoice where sellers send this to the buyers for any kind of payment for the kind of products which normally they have delivered, especially when we are when we are doing any kind of online payments, online transactions, and all. When seller is sending any products to the customer or the receiver or the buyer, so against to that, they expect the payment for the sales that they have made. For that, generally they have to create an electronic invoice. For that, generally ADI 810 is something which normally we used. But when it comes to the ADI 810 itself is concerned, which is uh, maintained according to the specific standards so that readers can read and as well as understood uh, the kind of components which are involved in it. At the same time, even system can understand this well in advance. This EDI 810 consists of different informations. One is about invoice number and date. So when what is the invoice number followed by the kind of date. So when we are sending the invoice, that will be mentioned over there. Next, at the same time, delivery and payment terms. So whatever the delivery time and date, location, followed by what are the payment terms we have, right? So everything can be mentioned over there. Next, we need to update the information about item identifiers, like something like UPC or EAN or TGA, GTIN, right? So whatever the required corresponding descriptions that are involved that are related to that, so that will be added into this. Followed by that, whatever the product that was delivered. So what is the quantity of the product and what is the unit price of the item that they have sold, followed by any kind of taxes or anything that's involved in it, or any kind of shipping details. Everything can be updated under the EDA 810 invoice. This is essentially useful when we perform any kind of billing, especially when we do any kind of billing and all, right? So it improves the efficiency. At the same time, it also can reduce the paperwork among both the parties. And fast reconciliations may also happen, result in more timely payment for any kind of suppliers and all that. And it can reduce and as well as eliminate the data entry errors which are associated with any kind of manual entry for both parties, all that. Followed by reducing administrative time by spending manual submissions, etc. All that. In process of understanding about EDI 810, so uh, we must understand how the formats looks like. So that part that part anyway I'm going to discuss in the next session. But when it comes to the EDI files are concerned, wherein it represents IN represents the invoice number segment. At the same time, BIG is majorly a starting point segment, which majorly includes date, purchases, orders, at the same time release numbers, all that. Next one about TDS anyway, files, file formats and all that I'll discuss in next session, but I'm giving you a high level glimpse over that, right? So next one about TDS, which means it majorly represents the total amount due segment. Next IT1 is for item identification segment, which is repeated for every time. Followed by last but not least, CAD is the carrier detail segment, which majorly useful for. So these are the different uh, informations which we will be provided under EDI 810. So when we are working on EDI 810 and all, so these are the different informations that we will be provided. And how this looks like and what are the different issues and how this uses, how do we use EDI? and what are the different documentations that are involved in it, right? And how the transactions under EDI 810 will be taken place, how this we do. That part we are going to discuss in the next session.